Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a Bitcoin video. I'm making this video purely to address some of the short-term updates that have occurred and a specific short-term triangular structure, which is ultimately going to be determining the result of this price range. Are we going to move upwards? Are we going to move downwards? It's kind of relying on this triangular structure that I'm going to show you today. I'm going to start off with a fresh Bitcoin chart though. And just before I get into it, guys, I want to apologize to my Australian viewers, my fellow Australians. I've been uploading very late recently in Australian time. It's currently like almost 1 a.m. when I'm filming this in Australia. So I'm sorry about that. A lot of you guys won't get the videos till the morning. I've just been working on actually a second YouTube channel recently, and you'll be having more information about that quite soon. So apologies to my Australian viewers, but you can still watch the videos. You just might have to watch them a bit later. But to my fellow Americans, even though I'm not an American, you guys are loving this, I assume. Anyway, let's get into it. Right, fresh Bitcoin chart. What's going on here? All right, well, we can start by identifying the larger range itself. Obviously, the larger range is 57K to around the all-time high at 73K. We can even be more specific, right? We can actually kind of rule out 57K for a couple of reasons. The bottom of the range realistically is sitting at around 61K, all right? I know we've had wicks below it in the past, but ultimately that's where the bottom of the range is. That's where the monthly chart all-time high from a 2021 bull market sits at that 61.3K, 61.2K level. And for the most part, you can see on every single retest at the bottom of the range, except for the one that led to our 57K bottom, that 61K level's been more or less where we've bottomed. We've seen some deviations, but that's more or less where we've bottomed out. So for me at this point in time, the important level is actually 61K. And I can justify that, right? Because 57K was very important a few weeks ago, but it's not really that important anymore, okay? The invalidation level for this range has kind of moved upwards a bit, all right? So 57K was important for various reasons. For example, the bull market support band was sitting in that price region, as well as the pi cycle center lines, as well as I've discussed so many times on this YouTube channel now, it's just getting boring to talk about it. The 13-year ascending support line cuts right through the entirety of Bitcoin's price action and directly hit that 57K level in conjunction with the other indicators I just mentioned. But that was a few weeks ago now. That was almost a month ago. And as we can see, those levels, all those lines, they're all diagonal lines. So they've all moved upwards a little bit. So the 57K level's actually kind of lost relevance. That level doesn't really mean too much anymore for now. I mean, it's a horizontal support zone, but it's not like a major horizontal support zone, right? Now, all the indicators that led to that 57K bottom, aside from the horizontal support, which was a tiny fraction of why we actually bottomed out there, but not the major reason, all those indicators have moved upwards, okay, in the weeks that have passed since then. And so I think the invalidation level is a little bit higher now. I think that, in order for Bitcoin to actually do anything bearish, we need to be dropping below something like 60K instead of 57K. And obviously, if we are to go down, which is not guaranteed at all, in fact, I'm bullish on Bitcoin, but if we are to go down, by the time we get to 60K, it will have moved up even further. So I think 61K is really what you need to be looking at. That's for me personally, and it's obviously subject to change, but for me, that's the real proper nuanced bottom of the range. So the price range right now is 61K to 73K for, if we're using that nuanced perspective. But there is another level that's very important. And we can identify it by zooming in a little bit. Let's go to the 12-hourly chart and let's cut through right here. There's a few levels, of course, but the other major level is around $67,000, okay? What we can see very clearly, we'll make it a pink line so you can see it very clearly here. For this part of the range, right, the initial part of the range on the left-hand side of the screen, when Bitcoin was very clearly bullish, it was attacking upwards. It had higher lows. Every single drop was going higher and higher and higher. That was all good, and 67K didn't matter. But when we started breaking down into the more bearish part of the range, which is when we stopped making higher highs, we started getting lower lows, the 67K level formed a neckline. And every time we tried to come up for air, you can see we rejected down from that 67K level until finally getting above it. And as you can see right now in the recent couple of weeks here, as we've been above 67K, it's acted as support on a couple of occasions. So for me, the major real proper levels in this range are actually 61K, 67K, which is our immediate support level. It's very important we hold that. And 73K, another level, okay? Because 73K, you might look at it and think, oh yeah, it's the all-time high, but it's actually not really a strong level. We'll break that within a day, in my opinion, if we get up to retest it. I think the major resistance for this range is actually stemming from a much broader level, and that is around 71.3. to around 72k flat, okay? And if you just look at that red rectangle and just look at the price action that has happened around that red rectangle, right, you can just see very clearly that's the case. Our all-time high at 73k was an upwards deviation during a time of euphoria, okay? That move was insane from that February, even January bottom, okay? That upwards euphoria was unmatched, and we had a lot of power there, a lot of velocity. But the proper resistance zone is not the all-time high at 73k. The proper resistance zone is actually that red rectangle I've just drawn in. If we break that, there's absolutely no reason why we can't break the actual all-time high. So if we want to narrow down the range even further, we could even just ignore the all-time high altogether, and we could actually just say the range is 61k to 72k. And if we wanted to be even more precise than that, we could say, well, 61k is a long-term level. We're not really focused on the long-term right now. Delete it. What are the actual levels that matter next up right now today? The levels that matter today, like as of current, as we're talking here, are very clearly only 67k and the red rectangle. So we've got a range on Bitcoin. It's a range that is about 7% high, 7% in height of price. So not a very big range, and we've been ranging for, basically 10, 11 days now. So we've been ranging for quite a long period of time in a very small price range, and we're going to be moving soon, right? You can't see these ranges last that long. Eventually they come to a T. Eventually you see a breakout. That's just the simple reality. So we've had a few different triangular structures form over the course of this range on both the RSI and on the price chart. We saw some messiness. We saw some of those triangles break and get invalidated due to the Mt. Gox situation that happened a few days ago, with Mt. Gox sending $7 billion worth of Bitcoin to wallet addresses unexpectedly. It led to a couple of those triangles getting messed up a little bit. But if we want to look into the new structure, the new thing that actually matters right now, for me, personally, it's this triangle right here. Okay, let's draw it in very clearly, and we'll make it yellow for you. And if we draw it in on shorter term charts, you can see this retest doesn't look like a proper retest. I assure you that it actually is. Go to the 4-hourly chart and draw it for yourself. There's very clear candle retests in that price region. Let's extend that line right across. There we go. And then let's draw in our bottom line. And as you can see, our bottom line is very clearly doing something like that with 3 clean retests. Okay, if I took the time to draw it perfectly, you'd see that represented quite well. Okay, so we have a triangular structure here, more or less. And that triangular structure is coming to an apex somewhere around the 10th of June, meaning that the price can only range within this triangle to a maximum date of the 10th of June. But most likely, the price will be breaking this triangle well before then. I expect the price to break out of this triangle by around the 3rd or 4th of June at the latest, right? I don't expect more than just another few days of ranging within this triangle. There will be a break. Now, obviously, and we can look at the RSI to validate this on the daily chart. For example, let's go to the daily chart and show you very clearly here. We have a very important descending resistance line on the daily chart RSI, and this will need to be broken in conjunction with the top of the triangle in order to confirm an actual price breakout. It's only when this RSI line and the price triangle line, as well as a volume surge, occurs that the breakout is confirmed. And if that is the case, we should very easily crush this resistance zone in red and very easily crush all-time highs. Now, as for a downside break, I would be waiting for confirmation of a breakdown from a triangle itself, obviously, but also I would be waiting for confirmation of a 67k level. The point of this video isn't really to tell you much in detail too specific, because I can't really be too specific here. But basically what I'm saying is this: I believe that Bitcoin's in a bullish position. I believe this triangle is more likely than not going to break upwards. It wouldn't totally shock me if it broke downwards, but I believe it's more likely scenario that we break upwards here, given the macro context, given our perfect retest of 57k, and given how weird it would be, just in general, if we came down and broke below 67k again. We don't really, look, there's no real proper reason within the context of a macro bull market for Bitcoin to break back down below this neckline level at 67k. It would be very strange, and it would lead to more extensive consolidation. And we've already seen very extensive consolidation. This whole period that we've seen here for the last basically 3 months has been a very exaggerated, very long correction / consolidation. We don't usually see them last this long. I discussed this very in depth in yesterday's video. I don't think it's a problem. I think it's very context dependent, right? I know why it's occurred. It's occurred because we moved upwards very, very quickly. Very, very quickly. We moved upwards like 100%, more than 100%, guys. We moved upwards. Let's just be very precise here. We moved upwards 196%, okay, which is almost a 3x on Bitcoin in a matter of 180 days. That doesn't happen, okay? That doesn't happen very often for Bitcoin. that's something that happens in bull markets, and we weren't in a bull market yet. Right, we were just 9 months out of the Bitcoin bottom, right? So Bitcoin moved upwards very early and very quickly, even comparing to last cycle and the cycle before. It's very, very quick move, and that was driven by certain narratives such as the ETFs, etc. It's very rational. It's very logical that, and it just follows quite easily that if Bitcoin's going to be moving upwards that fast, that quickly, you're going to be seeing a more extensive consolidation than what you usually see. Okay, if you're going to move quicker and faster than usual, you're going to move slower than usual after the move. That just makes sense perfectly to me, just in a basic logical reasoning process. But what I'm saying is, if we drop down below 67K again, if we're assuming we're in a macro bull market on Bitcoin, which is the assumption I'm making, and I think it's a very logical assumption to make given the data, breaking back below 67K could lead to another month of ranging and could threaten an actual breakdown here. So I don't really see why we'd need to do that. So for me personally, I think it's likely Bitcoin will break upwards here. And I think breaking down below 67K will be a really bad sign. I hope it doesn't occur. We'll find out very shortly. Simply put, this triangle doesn't have much long left. Again, it's reaching an apex on the 10th of June, and I expect it to break out within 3-4 days. Within 3-4 days. So. Look, we're gonna be seeing a breakout soon. I just wanted to bring that to your attention. I just wanted to bring that to your attention. That's the reason I'm making the video, just to show you that triangle. Nothing really more. Ethereum's holding the line quite well. This is like the relative level of 67K for Ethereum. It's doing the same thing as Bitcoin, just holding that line very, very well, looking and waiting for that bounce. Again, breaking below that level on Ethereum, just like Bitcoin, would be very, very strange. It would not be a good sign. The macro is perfectly intact until we break down below those indicators like I mentioned before, and we're very far away from doing that. We need to go all the way back down to the bottom of the entire price range to do that. Total 3 cryptocurrency market cap is showing us very clearly that we're in place. We're set up quite well for a parabolic rally. And very simply, if we drop back down below the bull market support band, that parabolic rally will be cancelled. So the good news is, right, Bitcoin's looking good on a macro scale. It's even looking good on the medium-term scale. This structure does look likely to break to the upside. But if for some reason it doesn't break upwards, if for some reason Bitcoin does go downwards and then continues to break below the actual macro support ranges, the good news is, it would be very easy to early, is that a word? I'm just forgetting how to speak here. It's like 2 a.m. It would be very easy for us to predict a breakdown very early and catch that move very early so that we can sell all our assets and not lose too much money. That's what I'm trying to say. Since our macro indicators are moving upwards quite quickly, they were previously at 57K. Now they're at 60K. They're moving upwards further and further and further. 60K is only a 10% drop away. So if we do, if the worst case scenario does occur and the whole crypto market breaks down, we can sell our assets with relatively small amounts of losses. So we're in quite a good situation here. Everything's looking good, but even if the worst case scenario does play out, it's not like we're going to, go home broke. So I'm quite liking the charts right now. I'm quite liking the situation. I would just like to see this structure break upwards. That's all. So we'll wait and see what happens. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you in the next video. But before we end it here, we've got 3 exchanges to look into. Bitunix, a very new exchange, a very low-key exchange, but it avoids KYC. There's no KYC at all in this exchange, and there won't be for a very long period of time. So check it out. I use it myself. I've got my referral link down below, 15% trading fee discount. It is a new exchange, but it does have reserves information. It does have a protection fund. It's got all the necessary requirements for regular exchange security. If you're interested in that, you can sign up. It takes literally 15 seconds down below with my referral link. And if you want a more well-known exchange, BingX and BitGet are available, again, with my referral links down below. This is easily the best way you can help the channel, guys. Pick an exchange there, use the link down below. You're helping yourself and you're helping the channel. You're getting a 15% trading fee discount with my link there. Check out the Crypto Academy's Become a Trader 10-unit course. If you want to learn how to trade, educate yourself on trading with this course. We've got a bull market sale right now for a limited time. So now's the time to do it if you're interested. All the information's on the website. And then finally, guys, the VIP group on Telegram. We trade altcoins 4 to 5 times a week. Altcoin trading signals posted there, buying signals, selling signals, all that kind of thing, or selling plans and buying plans, I should say, with a 77.51% win rate over the course of 18 months of continuous trading. It's all transparent. It's all there. Also access to a group chat where you can discuss the market 24/7. Guys, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you tomorrow. Cheers.